Dámy a pánové, drahá NBLL rodino, po krásných více než 4 měsících vás vítáme u našeho super pravidelného NBLL podcastu. Ve známém prostředí, ale v novém hávu. Goodstick laboratoř už není v podzemí, Goodstick laboratoř je v garáži a co víc, z Goodstick laboratoře je nově a do budoucna bude studio pro NBLL podcasty. Hoši, díky moc a dovolím si to, vítejte, i když jste tady doma.
Jo, díky moc.
My si spolu dáme ještě jednu epizodku, protože vy jste studnicí nápadů a novinek a zajímavostí v každém ročním období. Já bych chtěl navázat na bombu, kterou jsme odpálili minule, a to je dámská lakroska. Jak se daří dámské Goodstick lakrosce?
We're off and running. We wanted to be here a little earlier than now, but we're off and running, and the feedback we've gotten is 99.99% positive. You know, every stick we kind of string, our stringers are getting better every single time. We're kind of perfecting the technique of the stringing, but the head is beautiful. The fit of the shaft is beautiful. Our pro model shafts are gorgeous. They're in now. The bend of the head, we think we're locked in on an angle. Like when they come out of the molding process, we squeeze them a certain distance. I think we're exactly where we want to be, and couldn't be happier, prouder.
And we're really happy for everybody who purchased the women's Goodstick until this time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, because we're still, we get it pretty much figured out, but it's just us two and Kačka mostly, and a couple other stringers who are helping us string those sticks and making sure that everyone is like game ready, from the box. So
Jirka Wojciech and the Stuck clan,
Stuck clan, of course.
The Stuck gang, yeah.
Stuck gang.
Yeah.
Když jsme NBLL podcast, tak ještě u té dámské lakrosky chvíli zůstaneme. My z minula víme, jak se vyrábí nebo jak se vyráběla. Víme, jak se testovala a trochu tušíme, když úplně si nejsme jistí, jestli je víc verzí. Brian trošku poodhalil, tak...
Probably in English is better, right? Speak in English. Yeah, let's do English.
50-50,
Yeah.
it's fine.
We decided that we need to offer a couple more different options just for the stringing of itself. We have, can you pass those? Or you can talk about it if you want. So this is our basic version.
This is what we started with. This is what we started with.
Yeah, we started with this one because we wanted to offer an all-in amazing product that would feature like the newest technology, which is armor mesh, which we believe is the best single mesh for women's lacrosse out there.
It is the best.
Incredible hold, constant release, it doesn't bag out, it doesn't absorb water, so even if you play outside, it's just an incredible mesh. It almost throws like a man stick with the curve that everybody's making, that we adopted from like the major brands, and what everybody's used to, having the pocket a little bit higher in the mesh. Just the armor mesh is just the best option. So we wanted to offer amazing stick for an affordable price point, still for newcomers and kids, beginners. This might be a little bit too much, so we went to door number 2, which is a full mesh pocket, which is a little easier to string, a little easier to manage as a player that's starting. It doesn't have all these strings around, it's just a full head mesh that's just easier to pick up and play. It allows more mistakes. It's easier. The ball kind of moves around a little bit more.
Still compared to the sticks that, we were joking around with a couple of the LCC girls last night, like if this is your beginning stick, compared to the sticks that a lot of these national team girls started with, 15, 20 years ago, or even less, like even recently, the girls are still starting with like these sticks that are completely flat, and you're asking 5-year-old girls to pick up a ball with an absolute frying pan and
wiggle around.
Yeah, and then these girls quit because they think they suck, but their equipment sucks. So we're pretty we started kind of not exactly the traditional manner. We started with the best, and we added a more basic model after the fact. So we started with the premium, and now we have a economy version. It's still light years ahead of what my wife started playing with, what most girls started playing with. So in theory, you could have more players enjoying the sport, and obviously if you're starting with a better piece of equipment, sky's the limit for what those players can achieve.
And on the other side, pardon for just a quick jump here, making sticks more affordable and more convenient for beginners, we also went the other way, and we wanted to offer a product for competitive players, and we were able. Could you pass me one of those carbon shafts? Yay! So, yow!
Yeah, it's right on the toe.
So we also sourced our own carbon shafts, composite ones, with a thicker neck and still like a narrow body for women's more delicate hands if you have it. With this shaft, our head and the armor mesh, we're able to offer like a pro performance stick for a competitive player for half the price that you would find in any other European store. Those sticks would sell for up to 300 pounds
or more,
which is as a complete stick.
Which is 350 euros.
Oh, it's even, dude, it's even more.
I don't know.
Pounds are crazy, and then we are able to afford this beautiful pro stick for like a really competitive price to everyone who already plays lacrosse.
Before you started, I mean, like started. Had you done any market research, or do you just have a feeling?
Roughly 15 to 20 years of marketing research
as
a player.
Yeah. No, I've always, like I think I mentioned in the last podcast, I've wanted to do this since I was a kid, I think I'm not alone. I think a lot of people
me too.
have the idea of like, I want to make a stick. I think quite honestly, everyone has thought about it, and now you do see other small like startup brands, but pretty much everyone just goes to Alibaba and says, hey, can you make me a lacrosse stick? And you wind up with 4 or 5 of the exact same thing. So
I don't think there's nobody out there that is doing the same thing
as us. No, no one could touch their mold. No one could put a hand on that mold and say, a couple East Coast Dyes I know produces some stuff in the United States. I know there was Relax Collections, and then there was also Relax something else, but they were produced in America. Yeah. But I don't know if there's definitely been some production in Canada, but I don't believe much else is produced like where you actually can go and physically touch it.
Or have your own.
I feel bad if I left someone out, but primarily everything's produced in China, 98%. I'm sure there's maybe something done in Taiwan, but I believe all the injection molding is mostly done in China. So the market research is, we're doing things differently. We go and do the production. I've probably touched, every head that goes out the store, I've probably touched it 4 or 5 times since it was born.
Do you remember your first lacrosse stick? How old were you?
I started late. I was playing hockey, and then it evolved in the terms of being more competitive in a junior level. It required more traveling, more practices, and I was already like a little bit out of it. And after 2001, when LCC got the new artificial turf and first American team came, a team from Tokyo, I was really like, wow, this is actually pretty amazing. And buddies, they already played, they brought me to practice. And then I just started playing, but I was like 13 or 14 already. And I had a hand-me-down stick that I don't remember for my first practice, but then I immediately bought one of those cheap STX aluminum ones. Uh-huh. Like, yeah, it was pretty flat, but it had an STX thing on the side. Yeah, just a basic stick, pretty much like the entry level.
I had a Brian Warp. Was like what I've had a lacrosse stick. My father was is now actually again a Division III assistant coach. He started doing it again. I've and he's been doing that since before I was born. So I had lacrosse sticks. Pre-memory. But the first lacrosse sticks, like when I first started playing organized lacrosse, was a Brian Warp, like a defensive model type head, but like quite stiff plastic. It actually was a good lacrosse stick. I don't know if I don't know where he got it from or how he had access to lacrosse sticks, but I know that my brother had it was an old the original might have been Revolution, but it was also quite a good lacrosse stick. But we were going to play with our friends, and like their sticks sucked. They had garbage. And then of course there was like the one or two rich kids or something that had something really nice. But it is it is nice to see what kids can kind of learn. You know, like it's not an easy sport. You know, this ball is flying through space, and you have to catch it with a little basket that's not your hand. So you know the spatial awareness, and so if that stick can't actually throw the ball back, like it's not fair to the kid. If you're trying to learn this complicated maneuver, to not have a quality piece of equipment to try to do it with.
Was it important for you? I mean, which brand you played with?
There were some
Yes.
cool heads.
Because like, why I'm asking that, because we know, guys, what your philosophy is. So like that's why I'm asking.
I still have some like preferences. Like, you know, I really liked String King. Like when I was playing like after college, I really like. I've always been a big.
In 2015.
Roughly, yeah. I was big on War. I've always been big on Warrior, but big on. Now I'm a big fan of Gate. I think Paul Gate has done more to revolutionize the sport, from a technology standpoint than anybody else ever. And so I am a big fan of Gate products. Like the Torque 2 and Torque 3 now are very, very good lacrosse sticks. You know, like the fact that we make them doesn't, you know, we can recognize that there are beautiful, you know, pieces of engineering out there as well. But yeah, I never had like
product.
the,
We don't need to change.
I never had like a loyalty
Yeah.
to any specific. I think, you know, the Brian Edge. I had one of those and I really loved it. You know, when I was growing up, I had a Warrior blade for like 10 years. I still have it. It still
Had a
works
blade
just
as
fine.
well, yeah.
The blade was fantastic.
I got one from a player. I was like, as one of the kids at the arena. I got one from like a Philly player. That was his high school head, and I played with it for years
We
before it
have
broke.
one. There's a
Yeah.
mint condition Warrior blade somewhere around this shop. I can't remember where it is, but yeah, it's
I haven't had a brand, but there been designs and heads that everybody wanted and everybody had, like a STX Power Play. Dude,
Oh, yeah.
everybody in Czech Republic wanted those heads. Like most of us played with. They were shit. They were breaking on
awful.
top, and you couldn't really string them well. Like, you know, they were really narrow and really long, which gives you this like really long pocket. And if you want to string it anywhere else, it either hooked. But hooking, like you shoot forward and the ball ends behind you, like you pretty much just hooked all the way behind you, or it was like an integral
It was like one of those like really good ideas you have like 2, 3 in the morning, and someone but they actually like got it all the way to completion and like through
Yeah.
production. It was like you might want to give up on that one, but
They're still around.
yeah, they're around.
Yeah, they're around.
Pojďme zpátky na good stick. Máme pánskou lakrosku, máme dámskou lakrosku, bude golmanská lakroska, je v pořadí.
We get asked this all the time. Like, you guys, or not even asked, we're told by people that we need to make this or we need to make that. We would love to make everything. That's why we don't make pads as well. You know, people ask us for goggles for the girls.
We'll work on it.
You know, it's not as easy as say, you make that, make this, make that. How do you gonna make it? You know, like, okay, make the goalie stick. Okay, how? How do you have the idea how to make something out of the thin air that's gonna work? You know, how is it gonna work? How is it gonna string? Like, how is it gonna look like? What anybody needs, and then actually go and physically make it and source the person who's gonna build the mold, make the design, get the materials. You know, shop where we have all these things now, but now we're looking more of like the.
We would like to get our hands on goalie heads. Like we would like to serve everyone, and we'd like to serve everyone everything. We'd like to make balls. We'd like to make, you know, equipment. There's unfortunately our bandwidth is limited. You know, like Peter's around, you know, as much as Peter's around. He's got stuff. He's got, you know, playing with polar bears in the Arctic Circle and all that stuff. You know, I can't really bite off anymore at this point in time. Between coaching and
Your own little polar bear.
my own little polar bear at home, yeah, is growing. I guess a little nicer than your polar bears, but yeah, like so our bandwidth is limited, and quite honestly, this women's development was a bear. It's like a different kind of bear. It was a lot of work, and now I think we just want to see that become. We want to do it right. I think it's a staff of 2, right? So like, you know, it's a company of 2, and if we really jumped into the next thing right now, I think that would be doing the women's stick a disservice. We're not perfect yet, and I'd rather, you know, I think we got the men's beginner head, the men's pro model mesh, the men's armor mesh, like those are done, those are perfect, and that same amount of detail and revision and editing and perfection needs to be applied to the women's stick before we move on to something.
Since you've mentioned your customer approach, can you imagine your sticks hanging in huge sports malls?
We thought about it always, but I don't like the idea of just kind of like we wouldn't be able to keep up. This thing would have to grow significantly, but also just you lose the. We're trying to get every steak to be game ready as soon as you get it, which needs a little attention. You know, as Brian said, like he pretty much either when the kids string it or we string the head. Or right before it goes to the customer, we make sure that all the heads are pounded, that all the strings are cut to length, you know, and it's just this one-to-one approach is just why we do it. And then you get pictures sent back of people actually using the sticks or having them playing with their kids. You know, I don't think you get that with any other company. So this is just amazing.
Ale tohle je důležitý pro český publikum možná. Jak funguje prodej lacrosse vybavení v Severní Americe?
Ale ono to není úplně zas tak jednoduchý. Já jsem se přesně chtěl zeptat Briana, kde oni jako kupovali lacrosse třeba v Osvégu, jo? Když vlastně tam určitě nebyl lacrossový obchod. Já třeba jsem ve Vancouveru a tam jsou 2 lacrossové obchody a jeden má věci jakoby tak jako v akci. Pro mě to je pořád jako 200 km jako cesta, ten Vancouver je samotný, prostě obrovský. Jedeš 2 hodiny prostě nějaký v obchodu a taky tam jako podle mě to kupují lidi přes internet nejvíc. Jakože tam nejsou, pokud nejseš někde v Ontáriu fakt, nebo někde prostě jako v nějakém centru, tak těch shopů jako moc není, to.
Can we compare current situation to early 90s in the US, for example?
Yeah. So there are 2 or 3. Like I'm from like upstate New York, I'm from the Syracuse area, and there are within 45 minutes driving, I could probably go to 2 or 3 physical shops, like lacrosse specific stores. There's Lacrosse Unlimited. There's another one that keeps changing names. There's another one, West Jenny, and then there's like a Dick's Sporting Goods, which is like you can get stuff there, but it's the factory strung stuff. It's you know.
Dick's is like big. It's like Decathlon in Europe.
I'm curious to see your translation for Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah, Dick's Sporting Goods. Dick is a short for Richard.
Yes.
For anybody who doesn't know, especially in Czech Republic.
Richard Sporting Goods.
Because
the subtitles be great.
Yeah, subtitles would be great. Yeah.
So back to the question. Do you remember? You do remember your first steak? It was in early 90s, right? How old were you?
I mean, when I started playing organized lacrosse, the stick that I was playing with, I was 4 or 5 years old.
Oslí můstek. Brian Witmer se narodil v roce 1989. Na Štědrý den 1989, měsíc a týden po sametové revoluci, se v USA narodil chlapec, aby za 30 let v České republice evangelizoval imperialistický sport, který teď tolik milujeme. To je jako betlémská hvězda.
Yeah, sure.
Well, when I mentioned like that you have been spreading the sport here and so on, the good stick is not, or just dealing with lacrosse stuff is not just about like selling the goods, but it's also about spreading the sport. You're connected, you're connected to national government bodies and federations and so on. Tell us more about the program.
I would love to tell you more about this program. First of all, we just finished 3 collaborative efforts with World Lacrosse. We had 20 sticks go to an ice hockey development program in Selb in Germany, a big friend of the NBLL. We had 60 sticks, 30 men, 30 women, maybe it's 32 and 32, whatever, go to Brazil. And we had 100 sticks go to Costa Rica, yep, via Panama. So logistics nightmare. But actually, a fourth one. Sorry, I forgot one. 150 sticks went to Greece as well. So we're not just collaborating with the local governing bodies, or sorry, the national governing bodies, but also with World Lacrosse. We'd like to work with the ELF and PALA and the APLU in Asia. So we'd like to work with the continental federations as well. But for you, the governing body watching at home, we do have a partnership program available exclusively to national governing bodies, where you're going to be able to get automatic bulk pricing. So whether you buy 5 sticks or 500, you're going to get our lowest price possible, as well as it's in the PDF. If I haven't sent it to you yet, I will send it to you, or you can ask me to send it to you. But we have a stick back program. So the way I've kind of explained it, if you have a credit card that gives you 1% cash back, we are a 5 to 10% sticks back program. So if you purchase 50 to 100 lacrosse sticks, you'll receive 5% of your annual order back. And if you order 100 or more lacrosse sticks in a given year, you'll receive 10% of your order back every single year. So if Adam Sherpan, who's the king of Slovenia lacrosse, and Slovenia lacrosse orders 100 lacrosse sticks, we are going to give you 10%, 10 lacrosse sticks for free at the end of the year. So those sticks, by supporting us, we support you. Those 10 sticks can go in a bag and go into some school program, and bang, new team. This is something we really believe in. It's not, we're not giving it away. Obviously, you're buying sticks from us and helping us kind of support our dream. But we believe in everyone helping everyone to.
Yeah, because we're not doing this for sales. Like in a sense, of course, like
it helps.
It helps. Selling sticks definitely helps, but the governing bodies are the driving force of the growth and development. Like, and all the governing bodies are our biggest customer. Like, we're happy that we can sell stick to any kid that needs a lacrosse stick or needs an upgrade, or has an old stick or anything, pretty much. But these governing organizations are who are actually driving the development, getting all the new players, and actually starting lacrosse in countries. We always throw in Armenia, which is to this day our biggest order to date.
Biggest single order.
They just got 300 sticks 2 years ago, I think, right now, or like a year, like a year ago, and now they're part of the World Lacrosse. They got the sticks, they walk the walk, they got kids introduced to the game, they put in the work, and now they're recognized, and now they can start growing more and more, right? The money will come in, and then...
They won Heritage Cup 2 weekends ago.
Yay!
So,
congratulations.
They ordered 300 lacrosse.
Congratulations.
They ordered 300 lacrosse sticks, and they instantly won Heritage Cup.
Has to be the stick.
I don't know. If you buy 300 lacrosse sticks, you can win Heritage Cup.
Yeah. So we started this like an official program that we want to become partner of these organizations. Obviously, we're not trying to make a binding agreement with anybody, but also it has to go hand in hand with some mutual, like marketing as well, just to kind of be the provider, official supplier of the sticks for this organization. It helps us, helps them, like get a little bit of recognition, kind of grow the family a little bit.
We've had a lot of support.
Community.
We've had a lot of support from Poland. Is probably our single biggest partner, who's just continuously ordered more sticks. France, Luxembourg are big ones as well. So I don't want to have a different deal with Luxembourg that I have with France. Honestly, I can't keep track of what if I have a different price for you and a different price for you. So we're gonna give everybody who's part of this program the same lowest price. That's not available to a single person who walks in off the street. That's not the same customer. But we do try to take care of those who are ordering 40, 50, 100, 200 sticks at a time. They're handing sticks out. They're doing the hard work. If we can facilitate that, we want to encourage that, and we want to give you the best price possible.
Poslední otázka. Kdybyste měli jednu osobnost na světě, která by měla být tváří vaší značky, kdo by to byl?
Mně je to jednoduchý, já vždycky doufám, že já když tady nejsem a nemůžu to dělat osobně, tak vždycky čekám, až někdo založí lacrossový klub v Kladnu a půjdem si potřát ruku s Jardou a řekne, Jardo, tady máš lakrosky. On řekne něco strašně vtipného a my si s ním uděláme fotku. Pro mě to jasně Jaromír Jágr, že jo? 100%.
Posíláme do Kladna.
Posíláme do Kladna, zdravíme.
if there's one person in the world you want to, is it one person in Czech Republic or one person in the world?
In the world.
Who you would like to get into lacrosse? What was that?
No, be the face of the good stick.
The face of the good stick. Ooh. I don't know.
so happy I just went with the easy one.
That's so much. Yeah, I should have done it. You know, I'll kind of take the side door out. You know, like I love that Anna Lotman is the face of our women's good stick. I love that Kachka is kind of, you know, through strength. She's a goalie, so you know we don't have a goalie stick for her. Sorry, but you know she was playing in She-Box, and she had one of our sticks, and she lit it up. So you know we want to encourage, maybe not necessarily like, you know, these aren't NLL or PLL or, you know, WLL stars yet. I don't really have a ideal person, but I think maybe encouraging some of the local heroes, the ones that, you know, the unsung heroes. I don't really think that this company has one face. You know, maybe it has like these two ugly mugs, but
it's probably, if you want to be really poetic about it, it's pretty much all the children running around on the field, like those nameless, faceless children with our lacrosse stick pretty much all around the world.
Yeah, like I think I said in the last one, but you know, we're coaching U10, and I'll just look out there and I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 out of 10 kids playing in a game with my stick. You know, that's cool for me.
That you strung as well.
I strung. You know, we sold it to them. We dyed it in some cases, and then of course those kids come right down and score on us, and it's like.
That's my stick.
Kind of mad, but like it's still, you know, it's kind of points for us as well. So you know, it's cool that, you know, I play with our stick. You kind of have to, right? But it's cool to see. You know, we played a game last night. You know, it's cool to see you play against your sticks. You know, there's. I was trying to think about it before the podcast. I believe every single NBLL team has a good stick on their active roster. It's fun for me to say. You know, at the World Championships, like I think we had 4 women's national teams that I could count that had sticks out there. There's probably more than that now. I think, you know, in the women's championship, Germany, Finland, Netherlands were big supporters. Definitely, I'm definitely forgetting somebody. That's not good. But it's cool to see them out there. Those are the face. We don't have one face, so I've avoided your question.
Brilliantly.
Yeah, brilliant.
Tak jo, kluci, díky moc za to, co děláte, díky moc za to, jak spolupracujeme a díky za všechny příležitosti, které se nám otevírají. A díky vám za to, že fandíte a těšíme se zase příště. Mějte se fajn.
We're sorry to interrupt your regularly scheduled programming, but we will be away for the summer. We just want to give everybody a heads up. Getchko and I will be away for about a month and a half, 2 months for July and August. If you need something, please reach out via the web shop.
Act now.
And yeah, we'll get you taken care of.
We'll be back on a Frank Menschner Cup to get you your orders.